no people in history have been more persecuted than the Jewish people, and yet they stand astride in the nations.
Whoa!
Let me finish.
Whoa!
Let me finish.
Whoa!
Sarah, let me finish.
Whoa!
You asked two questions.
Bob,
you asked two questions.
I'm an African man.
You asked two questions.
I'm an African man.
You asked two questions.
Sorry, I'm not gonna let that slide though. I can't let that slide.
Come back. The thing to get particular about is the fact that God has taken his people, he has chosen a people, and he brings them out of Egypt, which actually flows into the very narrative that you're interested in, which is this idea.
God chose a people?
Yes, God chose a people. Yeah. He chose a people.
You believe that?
Yes, I do.
Even though he created all people, he chose a particular set?
Absolutely, I believe.
So that's superiority then?
No, because it's not about superiority. It is about this people being his people as an example to the world. And God has used the Jews as an example.
But that's what the Muslims say.
What?
The Muslims say that God chose them, as the example to the world.
No, that's you're confusing two things, because Judaism as a faith understands itself to be something that you can't convert into. It is an ethnicity and a people. Islam is actually much more like Christianity in that both our religions state that anyone from any ethnicity can join.
So you
Judaism doesn't
you actually believe that the Jews were chosen by God?
Yes.
Bob, I thought you were smarter than that, bro.
I am smart. But my intelligence.
So God made all of these people on the globe.
My intelligence is.
And chose a particular group of
for
people.
For what purpose?
For the purpose of bringing His law into the rest of the world.
No, this is. You see, what you're doing here.
Why didn't God choose everyone?
May I reply? So you've asked two questions.
Is that smart though?
You've asked two questions. Allow me to reply.
Go for it.
So question one was, God created all people, why did he choose the Jews? Well, he chose the Jews because he wished to establish a historical example and an historical context into which he will then enter history, and through which he will work in history. And he will do that because he wants to demonstrate that there is one God, the true God, Yahweh, and that through the people of Israel,
everyone's got the true God, Bob. This is what I'm trying to say.
I didn't interrupt you, Sarah. Don't interrupt me. You're better than that.
I am.
You're better than that. And remember, you're an example right now to everyone who's watching.
And so are the Jews.
Absolutely. So they are. They are. And here's why it's an example, ladies and gentlemen, is because no people in history have been more persecuted than the Jewish people, and yet they stand astride in the nations.
Whoa!
Let me finish.
Whoa!
Whoa! Sarah, let me finish.
Whoa!
You asked two questions.
Bob,
you asked two questions.
I'm an African man.
You asked two questions.
I'm an African man.
You asked two questions.
Sorry. I'm not going to let that slide though. I can't let that slide.
You can come back to it.
I can't let that slide.
You can come back to it.
Jews have had persecution.
You can come back
but
to
to say they are the most persecuted people.
In history.
Have you read African history?
There is no African people to speak of. There are tribes in Africa, and each of those tribes collectively see themselves as being distinct from one another.
The black peoples of the globe have a collective Holocaust, if you want to call it, that I'm not trying to even like...
We're not talking about the Islamic slave trade.
But I'm just saying, why not?
We're not talking about the Islamic slave trade.
Why not?
Because we're talking... You want to talk to me about biblical history. That's where you started.
But you said historically
You're
the
jumping
Jews
around
are
topics.
the most persecuted people.
Yeah, you only heard the first part. What did I say after that?
Sorry, go on.
Exactly.
Go on.
You were so busy interrupting me, Sarah.
All right,
you didn't listen to the answer.
All right, go on.
So listen to the answer.
If I went too quick, go for it.
Right.
But
so
I'm still going to disagree.
The Jewish people are look at them today as a people. Again and again and again, they have come back from absolutely desperate situations that have wiped out other nations completely. Yeah, the Romans tried to wipe them out. The Nazis tried to wipe them out. The Muslims tried to oppress them. Even the church oppressed them. And yet the Jewish people today, for their genius and for the blessing that God has given them, we are all blessed. Their genius is why you have your mobile phone. Their genius is why you're able to use sat-nav. Their genius is behind so much of the modern world that we enjoy, as according to prophecy that God would bless the nations through the seed of Abraham, through his sons Isaac and Jacob and their descendants. And this living prophecy, we are all the beneficiaries of.
Can I stick a pin there?
Yeah.
Do you remember before when I spoke about the curse of Ham?
Yep.
And you said you don't believe it?
I don't believe in the curse.
Okay.
I don't believe that black people generally are cursed because of this text in Ham.
In Ham.
I don't
Okay.
believe that.
Okay, so you said that, but you said the Jewish people. Are you talking about the European Jew that we see today?
I'm talking about anyone who's a descendant of Abraham.
By the way, I have to let the rabbi know I'm much as a Jew as he is. Born of a Jewish mother, a Yemenite grandmother, a Yemenite Puerto Rican mother, Ethiopian Hebrew father, Beta Israel, by the way, they call us Falasha for whatever their reasons. Thus, I am as much a Jew as the rabbi or the grand rabbi in Israel, any of the grand rabbis in Israel.
Are you talking about the ones in Israel?
I'm talking about Israeli Jews, European Jews,
Sephardic
African Jews.
But if you talk about African Jews now,
Yeah.
if you talk about African Jews,
Yeah.
we can see how African Jews are treated
Right.
differently to the European Jew, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so, and this is where I come in, right?
on.
This is where I come in, because I say, collectively as African people, it doesn't matter. So imagine the African people, as you say, the African Jews are of the lineage of Abraham. Are they treated that way?
I'll say again.
The African people that you say, or the African Jews, that are of the lineage of Abraham, are they treated that way?
By who?
By their own Jewish ummah, by their own Jewish community.
Over the past 5 years, 6 young Ethiopian men have been killed by cops, according to a local advocacy group, leading to huge protests across the country. None of the officers were prosecuted until now. This might sound a lot like the Black Lives Matter movement in America, but for Ethiopian Israelis, their struggle for acceptance is complicated by both race and religion. They're facing injustice in the world's only Jewish state, even though they're also Jewish.
I don't know. I can't say I've ever looked into it. I can't honestly say.
Okay, so like
You're
I said-
asking me a question of which
Okay,
I've never researched, so
okay,
I
so
don't know.
we have Operation Moses. Have you heard of Operation Moses?
Sorry,
Hang on, I've got to go into
seem to
this
be
now.
skipping around.
No, because you said
I want to
that
bring
you
us
said
back to
according
this point.
because you said according to prophecy.
Yes.
Right. The reason why the Jews are favored by God.
The
right?
reason-
And they're the reasons why we got the mobile phone and this and all
Well,
this.
what
kind of
was
stuff.
the greatest blessing that the Jews
No,
ever brought to
no,
the
but
world?
hang on. When we go to the African Hebrew, the African Jew, they're not treated the same way as a European Jew are treated.
You know, one time the rabbi, I don't know personally, but the ADL and all the other Jewish organizations, one time didn't even recognize that we exist as Falashas. It is something in America. American Jews have decided that they're going to speak for all Jews. And not only for all Jews, you remember they said blacks and Jews. I'm black and Jewish. You're white and Jewish. You're European. You're of European Jewish ancestry. I'm African Jewish ancestry. No more claim to Israel than I have because there's no Jewish race. Okay, let me continue.
They're not.
By who?
By their own European Jewish brethren.
You take that up with the Jews. You're asking me to defend what the Jews are doing to other Jews. I have no part in that. That's not my issue.
But then wouldn't that go against prophecy?
No, because the point.
You're saying there's only a particular group
So-
of European Jew that are favored.
I have
now.
never said European.
No, you don't
Jew.
have. You don't have to say it.
I haven't said
But that's what we can see.
No, that's what you're saying.
No, but that's what we can see, though.
No,
Bob.
that's what you're saying. I have not said that.
Bro,
did
the Af-
anyone
the
hear the words
African
European
Jew
Jews
is not
slip out
treated
of
the
my
same
mouth
as a
in that way?
European Jew,
No.
bro.